everybody. Hey, so I wanted to take a second to do a really off the cuff sort of a video. And Facebook has, hi, I think I'm actually live now. Hi, I wanted to take a second to talk about something that's been on my mind and I think will help a lot of you about inclusivity specifically for physical limitations for the child or the caregiver and sort of special needs in baby wearing. I don't think this is talked about enough. Hi, Amanda. And this is a totally new setup actually for Facebook Live. So I think it's going to caption and everything. Anyway, um, everything looks different because that's how Facebook is. I think that this is a really important topic that I don't think gets enough attention in the baby wearing world. So basically, I want to chat for if you or your little one have physical limitations, what can you baby wear? Should you baby wear? How do you baby wear? And we're not going to go super in depth, but I kind of want to give a quick overview. So why is this important? First of all, a lot of people have special circumstances when wearing. So I myself have scoliosis. That's why I tend to prefer some carries that not everybody necessarily does, because I have uneven shoulders and my back hurts. I have pain that I deal with. And so that's sort of something personal to me is that's always something that I think about. And I know it's not something everyone thinks about, but I know it can feel like you just can't do it. And I hear that a lot. You just can't do baby wearing if your child has special needs, or you just can't do baby wearing if you have limitations. It's just not a thing. So I wanna say first, if you have a child, you probably have to care for it, right? And so you have to care for it in some way. And that way is probably going to involve picking your child up and doing things with your child. When your child is in a carrier, the pressure is not on your hands and arms. The pressure is divided across your body, like it's spread across your body, oftentimes over the whole torso. You can customize the fit. So, my recommendation for special needs first is always long woven wraps because it is the most customizable. And something that I want people to understand, and it took me time to really understand this too, because I'd be like, how do people make all these different carries, and it's scary. It's like, how do I learn that? How did they do that? What did they, oh my gosh, you can do all these wraps and rings. Okay, listen, I want you to take this to heart. Once you understand how to safely monitor your child in the carrier, especially with something like a wrap, you can tie it however you want. Okay? Okay, I hear me. You do not have to learn special things. You do not have to memorize thousands of carries. If your body is hurting when you're in a wrap, take off the piece that is hurting and tie it around you in a way that doesn't hurt. And so long as baby is safe, so what does that mean? So long as you can monitor their airway and the airway is clear, right? So long as they're in a nice ergonomic position for their age, okay? So that means they've got adequate support for the neck, adequate support under the bottom, right? The pressure is not on the feet, it's on the bottom. So long as you've got that, and they're in and in a long woven wrap, it's not, it's hard if you haven't played with one, but it's amazing how it feels like, oh, they're in there in a long woven wrap. Like it's got that weight to that fabric. It's really helpful. So once they are in a safe place, it doesn't actually matter how you tie it around them. So if that's something holding you back, if you're someone who has some physical limitations and that's something holding you back, learning all those things, I want you to know you don't have to approach it that way if you don't want to. And for some people, it's more comforting to approach it with a step by step, and I want to learn. And I totally, totally understand that and get that, but I don't want that to be a reason why you're not going to try this. Because back to my point, if you have to do things with that baby. When baby is in a carrier, you can nurse in that carrier. You can feed a baby in a bottle in that carrier. You can go about your day and do the chores and the other things you need to do while baby is in that carrier. You can't do that in a car seat that you brought into the house, right? Baby can't sleep in that car seat in the house. So you're going to have to lug that car seat in, put it down, get them out. You could put them in another container, but we know that, babies in containers, that's not that great for them either. And maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you have to do that. And I get that there are parents who they don't have a lot of choices because of the limitations they have. And so I'm not saying that whatever choice you make is wrong. That's not what I'm saying. You have to identify your own things, but it's important to think of that. When I push my son in a stroller, that feels a lot harder to me than wearing in a carrier ever did. And now that he's heavier, it's kind of like either way because I'm not used to it. I'm not wearing him all day, every day, like when he was smaller, right? At 30 plus pounds, oh, yes, that's what 30 pounds feels like on me. I forgot. There's some of that too in the age of your child and all of that. So that's one thing. So long woven wraps, if you're someone with a physical limitation, definitely something to look into. Another one is a wrap strap medi if you don't feel quite ready for the long woven wrap. That has a structured panel. And then straps. And so you can customize the fit with the straps, but you still have like a seat that's sort of already made, and that can help you to sort of ease into that. So that's something I recommend for physical limitations for the parent. And I just don't think people are talking about this. And from my conversations with you, and I hope to have more conversations, I want to talk to anybody who wants to talk to me because I love hearing your stories and your experiences. I know that they're out there. Like I know that there are people in the baby wearing community or who want to be in the baby wearing community who feel like they can't. And I wanted to take this second to tell you that you can. The other part that I want to mention, which I don't think is talked about enough, is special needs for your child and baby wearing. And so this is really hard because it is there is a bit of customization. And so for one child, a long woven wrap is going to work really well. For another, the medi will be better because we can have that open side so we can get tubes or we can get, other things sort of in, for other apparatus that they need to be healthy. For some children, they're going to need extra support, and something with a hood is necessary, to give them extra neck support for when they arch back, things like that. But again, if you have a child with special needs, it's so easy for someone to come up to you and say, well, your child, oh my gosh, like that's going to be so hard on your body to hold the child. Okay, well, what's the alternative? I think that sometimes, people don't understand that if your child has special needs, it's easier to have them on your body so you can monitor them if they're having seizures. Okay, it feels safer to have your tiny baby with all of this monitors and stuff on you instead of in a container somewhere when you have to do something, right? If you have an older child who has special needs and you know that they find comfort in that, it's worth it to you to know that they're on you and being comforted while you can still do something, even if they're older and bigger than most people wear their children. And so I want to empower you too that there are options for you. And one of those, and I mentioned it a little bit in my back wearing video, which I'm going to post. I'm not sure if I put it on the page yet, but it is on YouTube. Once, you've got to sort of read your child, right? Some children will never be able to sit unassisted. That doesn't mean you can never back wear your child. Okay, you get to know your child and you know how to monitor their airway. And so long as you can monitor them and make sure that they're breathing, like that's the biggest point. We like when they sit unassisted or sit in a tripod sit because we know we've got some torso control and we know that they can, we don't have to worry as much about their breathing. But people do wear newborns on their back and they do monitor their breathing. They they find other ways. Just like, caregivers who are blind find other ways, besides just sight to know that their baby is safely being carried front or back. Okay. So again, this is just something that comes up. I see it a lot. I hear it when I talk to people. And I just want you to know that if that's you, or if that speaks to you, or if there's something about baby wearing that scares you because you feel like you don't fit into the model, of what a baby wearing parent looks like. And I know I have that picture of that. And I can think of some of the people I've worked with, some of the people I've seen who wear babies. I'm like, oh well, she's really, she's really thin and she's really strong. And look at her tandem carrying, two older kids. And oh my gosh, like that doesn't feel like me. And I want you to know that doesn't have to be you. You can be whatever size. You don't have to be super strong and super fit. You don't have to be in perfect health. Your little one doesn't have to be in perfect health. Carrying our babies, this is something for everyone. This is something in our bodies, in our history, in our ancestry across the world. And this is something for you too if you want it. And I don't want you to be afraid of this, afraid of all of the rules, afraid of all of the choices and the learning and all of the things. And so I am going to be showing you more Carrie videos. We have an amazing long woven wrap mystery box that is coming. I'm going to tell you more about, and I'm going to show you different ways to use them. But I just sometimes I see a lot of things online, and I talk to people, and it hurts my heart when I hear them sound like, there is no other choice. You've got to tend to your baby. And so if holding your baby is the way that makes you feel best, that causes you the least pain, that brings your little one the most comfort, that's a totally valid choice. Sometimes we don't have great choices to choose between. Okay. And so you're allowed to pick the choice that brings you the most joy and that brings you the most comfort and that works for your family, regardless of what other people think. And, we don't give medical advice, okay? But like, sometimes doctors will just say, okay, well, just don't carry your child because they have whatever condition, just don't carry them at all. Um, that's not usually necessary. But it's easy to say a blanket recommendation because they don't know, right? And so that's when you say, okay, well, can I put little one in the carrier that I have in front of you? And can we talk about it? And can you tell me what is good or not good? Because this is what's going to work for my family. And we need to make this work together, And you have that power as a parent to do that. And I want you to know that you have that. Like, just because someone tells you you can or can't do something doesn't necessarily mean that's the end all be all. And it doesn't mean it's forever. It just, everything is so situational. So maybe when your child's really small, this isn't the best, but as they get bigger, as they grow, as they lose some monitors or change some things, that can change stuff too. Amanda, yes, I love this so much. I have back issues and wovens are amazing because I can adjust one little thing and can make it comfy. I honestly can't carry my baby very long without a carrier because it just kills my back. So when people ask, how can you wear your baby like that? He's so big. Well, if I didn't have the carrier, I wouldn't be able to carry him so much. That that really speaks to me because I love that. And I love that this is giving that to you. And you are not alone, Amanda. I talk to people like this all the time. And so that's why I wanted to talk to you all today too. And I want you to know that I really, really care about you and I really care about your babies. And this is so emotional to me because it's important to me. It's important to me that you know that you can have the relationship that you want with your baby in the way that you want it to look. And even if things are a little bit different with you and your little one, it doesn't mean that you can't have this. There's so many things that get taken from us as when we become parents. In a lot of ways, there's so many things, and sometimes being a parent is just so different from what we imagined it would be. Our bodies change, our life changes, our family dynamics change. Sometimes we have things we just didn't expect we'd have to deal with, and I want to give this to you if you want it. I want you to know that this is here for you and your little one, even if you don't fit the cookie cutter mold that you feel like you see out there. So I hope that's helpful to somebody. Definitely let me know if it's helpful to you because I want to do things that, but this was on my heart and it's been on my mind for a long time. And I'm going to do probably a more formal post about this to kind of really flesh out some of the details of this and how to make this work for you in different situations. But I hope that helps, and I am thinking of you. So good night, everyone.